Hey everybody. Oh man, what a pain in the ass. So last May actually, me and a few friends mounted my cloud on the ceiling, which is 9 feet up. And I realized that I mismeasured where the cloud should be by approximately 11 to 14 inches based on the calibration of the surround speakers, because I did it kind of out of order because I'm an idiot. So how do I move this thing without completely destroying my ceiling? And I've arrived at a solution to calculate this. So I strapped together two really long pieces of wood that I'll base my initial pole measurements from. Let's say this is like the long piece of wood. I've butted this right up against the pole, taken the measurement of the pole, which is like 3/4 inch. So there's these bolted teeth like this. And then I measured the other one right here on the other end. I'm going to screw those in. So I have this perfect template. So there's no messing around. It's the exact distance. So I have a plumb bob hanging off the center point of this, going straight down. It's slightly off center from left and right, but that doesn't matter. And I thought I'd be close to 14 inches based on my mic measuring point. And there it is. Looks like I'm just a little under 14 inches, but I'm just going to do a 14-inch measurement just to be safe. So here we are. I've measured the teeth thingies, and now these gaps are 14 inches apart. 14 inches apart. So with the initial mounting points using these pipes, I can then put a pipe right here, and I have a few short ones, and I'll just literally push it up against the drywall and turn it, and I'll have like a little hole marking on the ceiling of exactly where stuff has to go on both sides. And then I'll take this thing, because the measurements are the same, and do it on the other side, and then I'll have my other two markings. So I'll have 4 exact positioned holes. So when I take this cloud down, we can get the holes in, switch the locations of the pipe, and get this up fairly quickly without wasting a huge ton of time. It's like I'm creating some sort of like trap or something. But isn't it already a trap working in the music business? Yes, it is. A technology trap. Because the last thing I wanted was someone up in the attic and we find out that the pipes, or even one of the pipes, is mismeasured. That would just totally screw us up and it would cause a huge conundrum. With this, we're going to get our exact shifted measurements. That's exactly where I have to drill, so nice. I'm just going to show you how I mounted my cloud to the ceiling. So what I did was I found a 14-inch piece of pipe that was already pre-threaded, and luckily these Genelec mounts have a small circle here. So we basically had a bunch of friends here push this thing up to the ceiling. The pipe went through the hole, and then we all screwed on these flanges. So basically this entire thing is sort of resting on these flanges. And the good thing about that is these are actually the 4 heaviest points of the cloud as well, because this is where the speakers are hanging. So basically we're gonna unscrew this thing, drop down the cloud, and then someone's gonna go up in the attic. We're gonna unscrew this pipe, move the entire piece of wood with that pipe flange over here, drop it back down, and then we'll all grab a corner, push this back up. The pipe will come through this hole, and then we'll all screw this on, and this thing is in the new position. And it's all because I made a stupid mistake. And basically, when I was taking these measurements, I didn't account for the massive baffle I built at the front of the room. So this whole thing was just in the wrong spot physically. Well, I was kind of getting nervous having people in here lifting and holding this cloud over all this gear that I don't want to move. So I built a thing. We can disconnect this from the ceiling and literally just lift the center track over this gap and then just let it rest on here while we're dealing with the repositioning the holes and stuff. And then that way people aren't just dying holding this thing up over this table and the rack gear and the desk. We can just plop this down and there's no worries of someone losing their grip. I thought this was pretty good. It was about $85 Canadian, and I already had a whole bunch of screws kicking around anyway. So It's just some 4x4 deck posts and 2x6s. This thing isn't going anywhere. And this thing by itself without the speakers is only 60 pounds. So it's just more about being awkward than being heavy. So this will give everybody a break. Or maybe I should just keep this in here and make like a gazebo. Ready to go. All the speakers are off and they're down there. Cat. And we'll be ready tomorrow to lift this thing down. You know, it's moments like this where I'm really glad I left a lot of extra slack on the lighting power and the speaker power cables, because don't have to get at those, which are stupidly kind of in the middle, which is kind of hard to get at with this thing here. Good job, Neil. Jesus. I'm gonna have to disconnect these two pot lights here, but that's fine. Lighting in studios is only for vacuuming. Okay, seriously, tell me that this 90-degree for this DeWalt isn't the greatest invention ever to get up in here without having to take this thing down first. And as a bonus, the cloud can catch all the dust because there's a little bit of plastic on the top, so I can just vacuum that. And I'm out. And there we go. Yeah, the cloud is in position, in the correct position, that is. So the moral of the story is measure 100 times and just get it right the first time. Don't be like me. Well, I hope you got something out of it. I know this was a pretty weird video, but it's all part of this studio finagling and maintenance and fiddling and procrastinating. And okay, I better get back to work now. But also, aren't these racks pretty? TWEAKS. Oh yeah.